What's going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to an exclusive Tuffy Talk episode, y'all. We are so excited here today to be welcomed by two amazing friends of the podcast for sure, and Chris Vurnakes from One Pack NIL and Steve Williams from Savage Wolves. And again, appreciate you both joining me here today. And again, as of this recording, we're 24 hours away from this in-state football game. By the time you're watching this, it's already happened. Hopefully we've seen some amazing things by then for sure and had a huge dub heading into that Tennessee game. But Chris, Steve, appreciate y'all joining me here today.
Leighton, it feels like Christmas Eve. We appreciate you having us.
That's right.
Hey, Leighton, you already checked one box. You pronounced Chris's name correctly, unlike James from IPS who completely butchered it last night. So kudos to you, brother.
Kudos to Leighton. Well done.
Hey, I appreciate it. After fourth time, Chris, that we've had you on the show. Yeah. So I'm hoping we can have it right by now. That's awesome, though. Awesome. Well, again, really the point of here today is there's been a couple of huge announcements recently within the One Pack Savage Wolves world, specifically the Rise to 5 campaign, but also to the Savage Wolves, the Junior Savage Wolves, which I was really excited about. Definitely wanted to learn more about both these things here today, but also to just kind of touch base in general. So, Chris, I know you and I were talking a little bit beforehand, and we were talking about how great things have been going recently with One Pack, how membership has grown tremendously. So, just kind of give an overview for our viewers and listeners in terms of where things currently stand from the One Pack side in terms of membership and how things have been going, feedback, etc.
Leighton, it's been amazing, and it's all the hopes and dreams that I think we had when we announced the merger and the collaboration that now is One Pack and Savage Wolves, that we've grown memberships over 500% in 8 months, which is amazing to think about. Steve correctly equates us to seriously starting from scratch in January, starting a new collective essentially out of what was two.
Yep.
And everybody that's bought into the value-driven memberships that we have. It was just under 200 when we announced the merger in early January. A few weeks ago, we announced that we were over 1,000. Before we could even get the graphic made, we were over 1,100, and we're almost at 1,200. So wow. The growth's been phenomenal. And if we continue on that trajectory, we're going to be exactly where we want to be, which is by 5,000 members by the start of football season next year, when revenue sharing and student athlete payments from the school are a reality.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. And I mean, Steve, I want to kind of ask you I know for me, and whenever we've been on live shows recently, with all the stuff that's been happening with, the Final Fours and the World Series and, football obviously ending last season on such a strong foot. I feel like there was, kind of a little bit of, well, maybe, but I kept on saying that in my opinion, there's never been a better time to be an NC State fan, the history of NC State, than right now. But I feel like that now at this point, with everything that's happened again, with the Final Fours, with the World Series, with what football is looking like it could be, I mean, I think it's pretty much solidified. There's no doubt about it. There's not a better time to be an NC State fan in the history of NC State. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And dude, we were in the wilderness for a long time, especially on the basketball side. So, I think Chris will be the first to say, where we were with basketball in January and February and where we ended up, April, May, and June was just phenomenal. And I think there was just this pent up demand. Folks just needed something to grab a hold to. And with the run in the ACC championship game, the run in the Final Four, it just lit a fire under NC State fans. And I think, up to that point, once we got in June or July, most of our growth, I think, really came from the basketball side. We've been successful on the football side, with the bowl game run, Dave Dorn becoming the all-time winningest coach at NC State. So the support had always been there for football. But once we tapped into that basketball crowd and just kind of whole frenzied thing, man, that's when it really took off. And, just speaking from the standpoint of the collective and why it matters, our handprints were all over those teams as far as the work the collective's done. Every member of that basketball team is a member of our collective. Every starter on the football team is a member of our collective. So when we tell fans this matters, it really does matter, because NIL has become such a huge factor in the process of getting folks to come to your school. They want to know what you're offering, what's the culture like. But NIL is certainly a big part of that. And of course, our influence was all over those teams. So, and so that's why we beat the drum about how much this stuff matters.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and one thing that I want to ask you, Steve, as well is like Chris saying, we're now a little bit over 1,100 members as a part of the One Pack NIL collective, but with the Wolfpack Club side, I'm not exactly sure where their numbers are at in terms of members, but I know it's got to be probably significantly more than that. So for Steve on your side, I've just because I know Chris and I have talked about this, but I want to kind of get your perspective. What do you think is still holding state fans back who are maybe members of Wolfpack Club but are not members of the One Pack NIL? Because I'm sitting here saying, NC State card family holds, 58,000, something like that, but yet we're only at 1,100. Why isn't it more? Even still. Wolfpack Nation, I know that you're enjoying and loving this interview with Chris Vurnakes and Steve Williams from One Pack NIL and Savage Wolves, but I want to interrupt this interview for just 1 second and tell you about Oconee Gold Small Batch Barbecue, y'all, who has some awesome, delicious barbecue sauces and rubs and even merchandise too that you will love and enjoy. Again, they have barbecue sauces starting with their original, which is a sweet brown sugar based mild barbecue sauce, but they also too have barbecue sauces that are spicy, jalapeno flavored, mustard based, vinegar based, and then they also have too, again, a delicious dry rub that's great. All your chicken, pork, seafood, beef, you name it. If it's any kind of meat whatsoever, that rub will take it to the next level. I can guarantee you that for sure. So again, go and check out their website, www.oconeegoldbarbecuesauce.com. Use the coupon code Tuffy Talk to get 15% off your entire order. And if your order is also over $99, you also get free shipping as well, y'all. So again, go to oconeegoldbarbecuesauce.com. Use the coupon code Tuffy Talk to get 15% off your entire order. Enjoy it, y'all. You will love it, and I can guarantee you that. And as always, go pack and get you some, y'all.
I'll tell you, and it's interesting because, you and I and Chris, we live, especially me and Chris, we live in this NIL world. Right. We've been banging this drum now for 2-3 years. And in our mind, sometimes it's easy to just think, well, everybody sees it exactly the way we see it. And, I consider the fans on IPS to be some of the most educated fans out there. And still to this day, it happened earlier this week. A fan listed like 10 different questions they had about NIL collectives. What does it all mean? So clearly there's still a sizable group of fans out there. I think we've reached a point where probably 95% of the fans have heard of NIL. They know it exists, but I think there's still a sizable group of NC State fans that really don't understand what it's about. And probably most importantly, as far as we're concerned, why is it so important to NC State? So that's the challenge for me and Chris, all of us involved with the collective, is going out every day and making sure we present a really clear argument of why what we're doing is so important to success at NC State. I think we're getting there. I think we're chipping away every day with our messaging, social media, email, podcasts like this. So we're getting there, but it's going to be a process. But Chris, I think, would agree with me 100%. Where we are today compared to where we were a year ago, it's night and day, man. We've made just huge gains over the last 12 months.
Yeah, it is. And I think the proof's in the pudding. And just to echo what Steve said, it's all about education. We live it and breathe it. And Leighton, you're right beside it. We talk to so many people that do have those questions, and this is literally a conversation about how we can support our student athletes at NC State and stay competitive. And the more that we grow and try and run our collective like a business, I think our donors and members appreciate that model because they're not just throwing money into the wind with the hopes that it goes to the program that they want to support or ultimately ends up with the student athletes that are going to help us win. We're offering value to our members. This is not just us asking for money. I think in the release, we had put some of the things that our members recently have been able to take advantage of, like invitation to the closed scrimmage 2 weeks ago, early access to Meet the Pack Day, the tailgate that the group's hosting with Greg tomorrow. We have 26 people going on the field before the game as part of the collective and some of the benefits that we're offering. So, yes, there is a monetary investment involved, but we feel really strongly about the package that we're offering. Not that we're just saying, hey, we need your money so we can get the best athletes. Yes, we want to create that war chest for NC State so our coaches have what they need from an NIL resource standpoint. But you as a fan are going to get value and experiences that you've never had before because of supporting NIL and the collective.
And I mean, I say this, completely biasly probably, but, I'll try to say as non-biased as I can. But I mean, I feel like that when you look at what other NIL collectives have done nationwide, that, I mean, just like y'all said, I mean, just it's so far from just we ask for your money and what you're going to get in return for that is the product you see on the field. It's much farther beyond that now with the experiences and the opportunity and the access that you get even more beyond that as well. So, I just want to kind of ask Chris in terms of, with this Rise to 5 campaign, again, trying to get to that 5,000 mark, would you say that, in order to get there, by that goal of beginning of football next season, that it's just continue down the road that we currently are on right now? Or do you feel like that there's certain steps that have to be taken or certain things that, need to be put in place, that in order to achieve that goal? Like, would you say it's just kind of just continue to trust the process, or is there something that needs to change in order to get there?
I think it's a mix of both, Leighton. I mean, I'm so happy with where the collective is right now. And I think when we talk about where we are, we're so proud of what has been done, but we also recognize there's a lot that needs to continue to be done. If you do the math on where we're at right now, I think we need to average something like 13 to 15 new members a day by this time next year to get to our goal. That is not an astronomical number, but Steve knows well, it takes work to get a new member to commit to somebody that's even doing $10 a month, because that's money that they worked hard for. So that's where I think when we look towards the future and project where we want to be in 12 months, when we start football season next year, when revenue sharing is a reality and a huge lump sum of NIL is being paid by the schools, we still find a great niche in what we're able to do with fan memberships, corporate sponsorships, and events to be able to fundraise outside of what people are giving for their tickets and their parking passes and their Wolfpack Club dues, et cetera, to be able to show value to those folks that they want to stay with us and they want to be a part of what will be the cherry on top, as Reed Johnson likes to say, for our recruiting efforts, because we know that's going to be the competitive advantage moving forward. When every school is able to offer $20 million and we can come in and say for the players like KC Concepcion, Noah Rogers, Grayson McCall, et cetera, we as the collective are going to be able to do more because we're going to hire you for meet and greets and autograph signings and commercial shoots. That's the competitive advantage we're going to be able to have and continue to have in recruiting. And what I'll say and what I've heard from the coaches is we're going to continue to recruit players that we want to be here. We are not going to be the collectives that just going to throw the most money at somebody and hope we can get the best players. Yes. We're going to stay with the culture that we have. We're going to stick with the game plan that we have and recruit players that want to be here. And we as the collective just need to make sure we're checking the box from an NIL standpoint. So those players get here, they stay here, and they're happy. And I think when we look at our collective like a business, that's the business model that we have. We're going to raise money through memberships and corporate sponsorships and video shoots and events and things like that. We're going to be able to budget around that, and we're going to be able to spend that money efficiently to keep the talent on the field and in Raleigh. And I think the last year has been the biggest proof in the pudding that I've ever seen. 9 wins and a victory over Carolina in football, 2 Final Fours. Why not both at the same time? Let's go. And then baseball going to Omaha. I mean, this is the year of the Wolfpack, and we will never say we play an incredibly large role in it, but NIL plays a role in where we are and where we've been. To Steve's point, the entire men's basketball roster was under our collective. The entire women's basketball roster was under our collective. The top 6 players on the basketball team were all transfers. And top 8 out of 10. So we know we're building our roster through the transfer portal and NIL to some degree. I think we accepted over 30 players through the transfer portal in the last 2 years in football. So it's had a tangible impact. Everybody's dollar who has supported the collective over the past 2 years can take a little bit of solace knowing that they played a role in where we've been and will continue to play a role in where we're headed.
Yeah. And I mean, Steve, too, I want to kind of ask your opinions. I know you've been well involved with the recruiting side, especially in state for a couple of years. So, I feel like one of the things I'm really proud of with NC State is I feel like going to an NC State fan and saying that, the phrase that more money just makes you more of who you are. And, you're looking at NC State and the guys that we have, that even though, yes, there has been more money that's been involved with, the football team from an NIL side, things like that. But seeing that the guys that you can just, expectingly expect, without even necessarily knowing how much, they're getting, things like that. Guys like Grayson McCall, guys like Kevin Concepcion, seeing that, yes, even though they're, probably getting, a good amount of money from an NIL side, that they're also returning that with being way more involved in the community. Like, Grayson McCall, you feel like you see him at games, you see him, out in the community at events. Kevin Concepcion, sticking around until the last person wanted to autograph at Meet the Pack Day. That thing honestly makes me so proud and, honored to be a part of, One Pack NIL, is knowing that my money is going towards making that athlete more of who they are, because that is the person that Doran wanted them, that Doran knew they were when they came to NC State as well. So can you kind of talk a little bit more about that in terms of just how you feel like from a recruiting side that, you feel like that as a fan, you're more than willing to invest in these players, in these student athletes from a recruiting side? And before we get going back into this amazing interview, we want to take a quick second and tell you about Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 different offices throughout Eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their website at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Well, I think that's the really cool thing about what we do. Probably the coolest thing about what we do is Chris and I, we get to see these guys all the time. And, sometimes maybe just because you hear it so much, people talk about culture in the locker room and those things. And we certainly talk about it all the time. It's so cool to be able to go to Meet the Pack Day, create an environment like, in the old days, you put 30 tables in a line and you put a bunch of posters on there and folks just walk down the line and you got your poster signed and then you were out the door. And, and so we come up with the idea. We thought that it was so much better to create a situation where as a fan, you can go in and stand there and talk to Grayson McCall for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. You can go over and see Isaiah Shirley, get to know Isaiah Shirley. And from our standpoint, we know these are great kids because we interact with them all the time. Yep. That scenario allows the fan base to connect with them as people, and they get to see what we see all the time. Once that happens, I think it becomes so much easier for fans to feel good about what they're doing with a collective, because they realize, Grayson McCall's a super dude. Isaiah Shirley, man, he's a really down-to-earth guy. One of the things we just started, and this is a shameless plug for our Junior Savage Wolves program, is, for the kid's birthday, we'll have a player do a personalized video to the child for their birthday. And man, I cannot tell you the responses we got from the parents who were they were so thrilled to hear Caden Fordham wishing their son a happy birthday. Like, it just meant the world to them. And so, going back to your point, man, it really is cool being able to kind of showcase what we get to see all the time with our fan base. And I think as far as the collective goes, that's one of the great rewards of what we do, is being able to share that. But then also making the fans feel really good about their investment in us.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, right now it's also cool because I feel like that, you guys are doing a great job of coming up with new stuff on a routine basis. Obviously, you've seen recently with the Savage Wolf peanuts, which I think is awesome. And it's cool. And then the vodka as well. I know Chris is about to show off his peanut collection. There they are. There they are. Look at those beautiful things. That's awesome.
That's a big jar of peanuts, Chris.
32 ounces of peanuts right there, buddy.
You bringing that to the tailgate tomorrow?
Yes, sir. It'll be there.
Let's go. I love it. Yeah. So again, the peanuts, the vodka as well, the Social House vodka, you name it. So again, great stuff there. So is there anything that, besides, again, the the everything we've mentioned, the access to practices, access to players, access to early event arrivals, things like that. Is there anything coming down the line, besides the Junior Savage Wolves that, just to kind of, for those viewers or listeners that are not involved yet in One Pack NIL, just to beat it a little bit more, just to be like, yeah, why am I not involved already? This sounds awesome,
Well, I think the membership's where it's at, Leighton, and we're going to continue to roll out new and unique experiences for our fans that they wouldn't otherwise have an opportunity to do.
Yep.
I'll tease a little bit, and I hope I don't get in trouble, that we're working on a co-branded merchandise line that will include some Johnny O products that look just like this, but will have the One Pack and Savage Wolves logo, in addition to the intellectual property of the schools on the same piece of merchandise. So we're really excited about that. I think it'll be something that down the mainstream people can adopt, because it's still going to have that NC State branding on it, but it'll also be representing the collective at the same time. So that's still in the works. We got some orders in. We're working on that behind the scenes. But, from a fan's perspective, I know sometimes there are lulls in activity, it seems like, but man, we're working every day to try and come up with new ideas to generate opportunities and experiences and ultimately revenue back to the collective in a way that people feel good about how they're working with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And Steve, last question for you, man. But with One Pack NIL, just to kind of push it a little bit further, because again, we are trying to reach that goal of 5,000 per se. What would you say? When you've had conversations, like you said, that that one pitch, what would you say has been that one piece that's been like the light bulb changing response, that like you mentioned this one thing and it was like that was the light bulb turning on moment for fans that you were talking to about why they should get involved with One Pack and Savage Wolves?
It's ironic. I could talk till I'm blue in the face, and it pales in comparison to Dave Doran standing at a press conference saying, I need 5,000 fans to donate $1,000 to Savage Wolves, because when he did that, memberships went through the roof. And
yep.
I mean, it was us literally chasing our tails for weeks to keep up with all the members that came through. So I'm sure Chris would agree. Kevin Keats put out a great tweet yesterday about, 5,000 sounds great, but I think we can do 10,000 members in the collective. And within just a couple of minutes of him doing that, several people signed up. So, awesome. Getting the support, and trust me, I'm more involved on the football side. We've gotten a lot of support from Dave Doran and his staff, especially on social media, helping us amplify different things that we're doing. But I'm telling you, man, when the fans hear it from the big dogs in the Murphy Center and over at, on the basketball side, that's what really moves the needle, man. Because it kind of drives home when they hear Dave Doran or Kevin Keats say those things. It drives it home with the fan. Okay, this really does matter. If Dave took the time in a press conference to tell me that I need to do this, then I probably need to do this. And so that's one of the things that really, really, has helped us. I want to piggyback on Chris, because Chris made such a great point earlier. And sometimes this kind of gets lost in everything that we do. We're literally offering things to fans that they have never had access to in the history of NC State. Last week, we took 12 donors into the Murphy Center to have lunch with Dave Doran. We got unfiltered Dave Doran, and it was awesome. They got insight into NC State football that nobody else gets access to. We've taken fans in for film breakdowns with Coach Anai, Coach Gibson, Coach 2J. That's never happened before. I took fans into the indoor practice facility to listen to a speech from Phillip Rivers and then meet with him afterwards. That's never happened before. So, I'm so excited about all of these different things, the access that we've been granted and how we've been able to just build this incredible following. And every day it's getting better, man. And that's why I think, just stay tuned, because I can tell you Chris's wheels are turning 24/7. Reed Johnson's wheels are turning. They get sick of mine turning, because I probably just worry the crap out of them with all the stuff that I come up with. But it's a lot of fun, man. And it's all based in just a bunch of guys that love NC State and want us to be as successful as possible.
Yeah. And I'll just maybe end it, Leighton, to say, the support of the athletics department's been crucial to our success. And that means boo down to the coaches, down to their assistants, down to their admins, to the compliance department, to the marketing department, et cetera. So, you would ask kind of what turns people on, and Steve's successfully commented that Dave's comments in November did that. The second biggest day we've ever had, and the biggest day for One Pack, was 2 days after we won the ACC championship game. Boo Corrigan penned an endorsement letter for One Pack, and we literally doubled in memberships in 24 hours. Wow. So we have a megaphone as the collective, whether that be our social media channels, our newsletter, our website, the people that work for the collective. It's gotten bigger. It's still nowhere near as big as the megaphone that the athletics department has. And our partnership with the athletics department has led to these new opportunities. Now we're doing it legally and compliantly. 2-3 years ago, nobody knew what to do. So I think a lot of athletics department leaned away from their NIL collectives and didn't allow them these access points. Yep. I think we've shown that we'll use them appropriately, and we'll use them compliantly, and we'll use them for the betterment of the collective. And when we can have, I think we had 400 or 500 people come to the closed scrimmage 2 weeks ago. That is an easy lift for everybody. It's literally just letting people into Carter Finley Stadium. But to Steve's point, it's never been done before. So we have to get Dave comfortable with it. We have to get facilities comfortable with it. Yep. Everybody checks off. And now we've got an experience that a lot of people are going to go back to their friends and say, well, I'm a member of the collective. I got to go see Noah Rogers catch a ball in the red and white earlier than anybody else. And I think we're all excited about what that's going to look like here coming up. But, this is a collaborative effort. There are so many people, obviously inside the collective, but even outside, that are working on this. But the involvement of the athletics department and their complete support has propelled us to where we are. And I think we'll continue to see the successes because of that partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the last thing I'll say too is, I mean, the thing I applaud Doran and Boo for doing, and the whole NIL, collective in general, is making it clear that it's not like that we're begging, saying we need this in order to be competitive. Please, please get involved. But it's more of that. Right. But it's more, but it's more of like, that, listen, it's just the way of the times. The times are that this is something we need to do. So I just, I love, just wording it properly too. So anyway, y'all, so again, just make sure to go check out One Pack NIL. Go to onepacknil.com. All the information is there for One Pack and Savage Wolves. There's membership starting as low as $10 a month, y'all. So just go get involved. Again, there's deals and benefits depending on how much you do want to donate, per month or even per year as well. So go check it out. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Chris, Steve, even myself directly. Be more than happy to help answer any questions you have, point you in the right direction for sure. As again, it will definitely, if you're a diehard NC State fan, this is where you need to go. This is where you need to start. Simple as that. That's just my thought, point blank. That's right off the top of my head. So anyway, Chris, Steve, I appreciate y'all's time. And again, definitely super, super excited about what's to come. Super, super excited to go crash in on Greg's tailgates with Savage Wolves and One Pack. That's going to be super awesome. So excited for that. And it's going to be a great, great time. So appreciate y'all's time today.
Thank you, Leighton. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So as always, y'all, again, if you haven't already, make sure, again, go check out One Pack NIL. But for our side as well, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. And then for our side as well, y'all, again, we have an amazing new sponsor with Oconee Gold Barbecue Sauces, y'all. So make sure to go check out their website as well, OconeeGoldBarbecueSauce.com, and use the coupon code Tuffy Talk to get 15% off your total order. And make sure to go give us a follow as well on Tuffy Talk now on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, y'all. We'll see y'all soon, and go Pack, y'all.